Welcome back, and we are now moving on to creating your offering. So let's get started. It's time to create your offer. So we're starting with, firstly, we're going to be looking at choosing your online coaching service. So you might need to think about, like, how will you deliver your coaching? Now, how is it you want, like, everyone's different and you might like to deliver it in different ways, but you're doing the online coaching course, so we're kind of going to think, well, it's going to have an online element, otherwise we're in the wrong place. So the most popular way would be one-to-one, and this is probably the quickest and the easiest way to get going. You can do one-to-one as a single session, or you can have a specific number of sessions. Maybe you're going to do a 3-month program, which involves 2 sessions a month and then some accountability and some tasks in between it. So set out how you want to do your one-to-one coaching. Like, have a plan, like, what's the outcome you want to achieve and what are the steps that you need to take. So in terms of the fitness coaching, you want to lose 3 stone. Okay, well, we can do that effectively over 3 months. The goal, you need milestones. So the first month, we're going to lose a stone, the second month, a stone, and then the third month, a stone. How are we going to do that? It's going to involve 3 coaching sessions, 1 online, 2 in person, whatever it might be. Just set it out and be specific, because then you know where you are. Make sure you agree your dates and times and when you're going to get started. And you can share coaching agreements as well, if that's helpful, because then people really know what the boundaries are and don't start pushing them or, emailing you incessantly in between sessions. So think about those things before you get started, because if you don't, you're going to create more work for you later on. So, like I was saying, like, set out your expectations, because then no one feels disappointed, because somebody might be thinking they're going to get X and then you give them Y and then there's some dissatisfaction. So sign a coaching agreement prior to getting started, explain how you work, see if that works with them, set out the key dates, and let them know how they can book sessions. How about the cancellation policy? When do they have to cancel to lose a session? Can they rebook? All of those things you need to think about, and take payments in advance, because otherwise it's much harder to sometimes chase it after the event. So take payments in advance, and so everyone's happy. So that would be like my biggest tip around getting started. Now, the disadvantage about doing one-to-one is that you are selling your time for money. So, there's top experts out there who are charging thousands of pounds per hour for coaching, but ultimately you're going to spend that hour doing the coaching. Now, if you're charging more money, then you don't have to do as many hours to get a good wage. So think about that if you're just doing one-to-one. But as you get more expert and you can raise your prices, it might be something that you're really happy to do. Now, another way to deliver an online coaching service would be one-to-many. So you can do live coaching around this. So it's really popular in the educational market, and there's obviously the option to do it online. So you could use programs like Zoom to do group coaching, and you could build community into this model. And for example, in my Like-Hearted Leaders, we have masterclasses provided by the community. It's a membership site model, and it's one-to-many. So if I was having calls with everybody individually, that would be one thing, but actually people are sharing expertise within the community, and it's just 1 hour for everybody. So, and it builds community, which is a win-win in my mind. So people are building trust and connection, and there's a real safe space. So the only thing about doing one-to-many is everybody available at the same time? Because if people aren't, you could do recordings, but it just depends what kind of business model and what training you're going to do through that methodology. So online training courses are another thing you can do. So I touched on this when I was talking about Kajabi. Turn your knowledge into an online course, and then that can be being sold when you're not even working, and it once you've created that course, it can go out and you don't need to keep being there for that hour. So look at the problems that people are experiencing in your niche. And, if you can answer them and create an online course around it, then that is a great option to, reduce the number of hours you'll spend at your desk and make your time work for you. So you need to create videos if you're doing online training courses, and have those uploaded. You need to create slides, but you can create slides through Canva. These slides are created through Canva, and use Kajabi, for example, to host your courses. So there again, you can go onto Bitly, easy website option, and have a look at all the options you can use Kajabi for. So there's a free trial on there as well, so you can get started and have a look at what's going on. In terms of, how would you build your products out? How could you create a landing page in your website and all of those things? So online training courses are a really good way to maximize your time and the money you're making. And the other thing you could do is, we touched on these before, webinars and membership sites. So maybe you charge people to come to your webinar where you give valuable advice, or maybe it's for free and then you can offer more in a higher ticket training course or live group coaching. So you kind of give a taster in the webinar and then send people on somewhere else. So webinars are generally more of a sales tool. Membership sites are more of a way to build relationships and continue that relationship over time. So you might be thinking about, well, which one's going to work for me? So with my community, we meet every week on Zoom. We also have a membership site which houses the products, which are the masterclasses that we create within the community. So that means people can go in later and access them. And it's also got the community element. So people come back because they feel like they're meeting their friends and they're sharing and all of those things. So it just depends what your goals are. So you need to look back to what we spoke about early on, like setting your vision, your goals, and how much time you want to spend, what lifestyle do you want to create, all of those aspects. So, and then you can think about, what online coaching offers do you want to put out there? And it might be that you save your one-to-ones, as your highest price product, but generally you deliver group coaching because that maximizes your time and you get more money for it. So have a think about what you want, and then once you know what you want, it's much easier to put the steps in place to make it happen. So that comes to the end of this module, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.